I'm Nancy Bergeron. I'm a reporter leader and will be the moderator for tonight's event. This is the first of 2 candidate forums that we're sponsoring for the races that are on the October 14 primary ballot. Tonight spotlights candidates from districts 1, 2, 3, and 6. On Tuesday evening, same place and also at 6 o'clock, we'll hold the second forum, which will feature candidates from District 9, 10, and 11. We believe that hearing from candidates firsthand is one of the best ways for you, the voters, to have the information that you need to make your choices on Election Day. First, there are a couple of ground rules for this event. This is not a debate. That would be fun. Maybe someday we'll do that, but this is not it. This is a question and answer forum covering topics that impact the whole parish. We'll ask you, the audience, to withhold your applause or reaction to anything any of these ladies and gentlemen say. Each candidate will be given 90 seconds to answer each question. At the end of a minute, 1 minute, the timekeepers down here will hold up a yellow paddle that's in front of Casey, signaling that you have 30 seconds left. When we get to 90, red paddle goes up. Red paddle. That means stop. If you're in the middle of a sentence, finish, but don't start another paragraph. Don't do it. We will rotate the order of districts and candidates within each district so that everybody won't always be first, won't always be last, won't always be in the middle. So now to our candidates. From District 1, starting here, Mr. Will Edwards. Will works for Ace Automotive, and he also serves as a volunteer with the Lincoln Parish Fire Protection District Number 1. He's an independent. Greg Big Coach Williams. Greg is a Democrat. He's a retired educator from Lincoln Parish School System, where he serves as principal, assistant principal, athletic director, and head coach. Teresa Wyatt is also a Democrat from District 1, and she is the incumbent. She's a former police jury president. District 2 is an open seat. Incumbent Hazel Hunter did not seek re-election, and 2 people want her seat. Karen Ludley, who's a Democrat, is one of the 2 contenders for the District 2 seat. She's a former special education teacher and also worked for Swanson Correction Center for Youth and the Louisiana Department of Education after-school program. She's participated in a number of community volunteer activities, including a feeding ministry for the elderly. Tommy Woods is the other candidate from District 2. He's a Republican. Tommy's a retired Ruston Fire Department assistant chief and currently consultant for the Grambling Fire Department. District 3. Richard Durrett is the incumbent from District 3. He's an engineer, former parish administrator, and current police jury president. He claims no political party affiliation, and he's also on the Lincoln Parish Fire District Board. Dan Lord is the other candidate from District 3. He's a Republican and owner of Dan Lord Plumbing, an Army National Guard veteran, former Ruston Fire Department firefighter, and a licensed EMT. District 7 candidate John Cole is a chief banking officer at Gippsland Bank Shares and has also worked as a staff accountant for a CPA firm in the tax and governmental audit departments. He's currently on the Louisiana Bankers Association Board of Directors and serves on the Governmental Advocacy Committee. Also in District 6, Glenn Scriber is the District 6 incumbent. He's a painting and carpentry contractor who started his own business 38 years ago. He's also the visionary for the 3D archery range at Lincoln Parish Park. Now is the time, if you wish, for a round of applause for all of these folks for offering themselves as candidates. Okay, here's what you came for. We're going to start with an easy one. You don't think so? All right, we have a bunch of really, really good questions, folks. Thank you very much. We're not going to get to all of them, but we'll do the best we can in the time we have. All right, first question, and we will start this question with District 1 with Mr. Edwards. First question, We're seeing an increased amount of litter on roadways and around dumpster sites. How do you plan to solve the dumpster problem?
Well, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to end up getting with all of our jurors, members and stuff, kind of go around, help them actually pick up stuff, get with our detention center, have them see if they can bring out more people to help us pick up the litter. If that involves us getting out there and picking it up too, we'll do that too.
Mr. Williams.
There's a survey been done about this situation. This situation been going on for a long time. On Sunday, I see dogs, I see sofas, I see everything at the dump site. And we're trying to make this fit, and it's not going to fit. I think we need to use the same thing that we're doing in the parish, go door to door in the rural area and pick up the trash in that way. And I think if we do that, we alleviate the problem with the dump sites being like it is. I never saw the survey that was done with the constituents. Right now, you got about half the population of Lincoln Parish. Rural area is about the half is the same as it is in the corporate area. So if we're doing that in the city limits, I think the long-range plans is do it that way. We've been doing the way we're doing for a long time, and it don't work.
First and foremost, I see myself as a part of the solution because I walk 2 miles a day and pick up litter and trash. How we're going to solve this problem remains to be seen because it's a chronic problem. The police jury cannot solve it alone. We have to get our constituents to understand that you need to be a part of the solution. Use the dumpsters properly. Door to door would be good. Whether it's economically feasible remains to be seen. But both municipalities have gone to 1 day a week pickup. The dumpsters are used for overflows. And even city people now relish the fact that once their trash cans are full, they can go to the dumpsters. We're asking the community to be a part of the solution. You know, I walk every day 2 miles and pick up trash to make myself available to the people that I serve. I always see myself as a part of the problem and a part of the solution. So I'm asking you all, please become a part of the solution and do your share when you can. Pick up litter and trash.
Good evening, everyone. That question is very important because, as the other 2-3 have said, I have gone by and I've seen trash at those big bins. I see household items at those bins. And I think that we should start to ask that all of us, we have to work together to make sure that we have what we need. As a police juror candidate, I want to see a difference. I want to see a change in some of those things that we see out there. It's really smelly, as they were saying. We see dogs, we see people just throwing things out there, but it does take a community effort to get those things together. Yes, we can't do it by ourselves, but we want to make sure that in those rural areas that are there, we ask that we all need to just come together and make it beneficial that we able to collectively make our parish look beautiful, make it look good, make it look like a tourist attraction for everybody. Just doesn't matter whether or not it's in the rural area or not, but everywhere.
Good evening, everyone. I've been to several of the dumpster sites, and just like they were stating earlier, that there are couches, there are mattresses, where we see on Highway 80, we see at the dump site on Hurd Road, all the dump sites. But a goal that we need to have as a juror, that we need to work together, and we need to find a way that there's a way that we can find a container or a way that we can these items that people that don't have vehicles, trucks to be able to transport these to the landfill, find a way that we can help them by getting these items, whether they can be refurbished or they can be recycled, get them to the area that we need to get them to where people won't have to leave them at the dumpster site. And just like they're talking about, it's going to have to be a community effort. Leaders lead by example. And like I said, if we're going to expect the community to get out and help us do this, the leaders are going to have to get out and be seen doing it also. Mrs. White, she does do that. I can vouch for her. But everybody, we're all going to have to be in this together to be able to solve the problem. That's one of the goals of the jury that should be, as far as to make sure that we get this done. We really need to have an area for mattresses, couches, things that people don't have a truck to transport, and have it picked up by another company or have it transported by workers with the police jury, with the government. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us here tonight. And I'd like to address this problem. First of all, the last 4 years, we have added some people to pick up around the dumpsters after the compactor dumps the dumpsters. But we still got to improve on that. As you mentioned, we need somewhere to put the garbage other than household garbage. And my suggestion is we have a mega site south of Central 507. We need some more mega sites throughout the parish. And on those sites, we've got room enough to put some roll-off containers, and that's one suggestion I made. We put some roll-offs there where they can put those in there and dump those separately. One of our big problems is on the west side of the parish is the surrounding parish, people dumping in the dumpsters and overloading the dumpsters. That's something I've worked on, trying to find out who's doing it and try to work on that. We had a big problem in the last month or so with some chicken farm people putting chickens in the dumpster. I spent 2 weekends, 2 Saturdays, Sundays working on that problem with the sheriff, but hopefully we got that done. But everybody's got to be involved. As everybody said, people got to be involved. They got to call you and let you know, and that's what they've done, is call me, and that's what we worked on.
Thank you. I'd like to thank y'all for coming tonight. I want to thank you for letting us do this. This has been a problem for a long time. This is not just started. This is something that's going to take a strong committee to get together and try to figure it out. Some people say door to door, some people say not. I see that the trash people that's picking up trash now, I notice that trash is blowing out of the truck going down the road. It's going to take us, it's going to take you, it's going to take every one of us to handle this. There's not one of us can sit here and tell you exactly how it's going to happen. It's going to take a strong committee to get together and come up with a plan. And that's the only way this is going to work. People need to be held accountable for what they do. We've talked about doing compactors on the site, maybe having people man the sites, having people put them in the right places. They say, well, we can't pay people to put it in there. To have them put it in and take it out, but we're paying them at the dumpsters now to take it in and put it out. So maybe we put some roll-off dumpsters. I mean, there's lots of things we can sit here and talk about, but until we get together as a group and hold some transparency, it's never going to happen. Thank you.
There's 2 or 3 different reasons why the problem that we have. Now, actually, the dumpsters that we have, they've actually worked, to tell you the truth about it. Now, it creates more trash when people carry them to the dumpsters and things like that, but when this was come in, I guess under Reagan Sutton's administration, the reason it hadn't come to the forefront is because it's kind of worked good enough. Now, good enough is not good enough though. So, door-to-door pickup, trash pickup, is certainly an option that we need to look at, see what the cost between the two would be. I think we're going to always need some dumpsters in strategic places in the parish. Mega dumpster site would be great. The problem we've had, we checked into some of these, is literally finding that half acre, 1 acre, whatever we might need to put those mega dumpster site there is a great idea, but if you haven't got the place to put it, then we can't do that. We just can't go out there and do it without having the property to do that. So I agree with what Dan said. It's got to be studied by a group of people that is willing to make some changes with what we've got. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I want to thank y'all for being here. Going last, all of my notes have been already said, but I do want to say the parish right now has about 60 sites that service 8,500 residents. There's been lots of talk over the years of possible solutions like, which have been mentioned here, mega sites, compactor sites, door-to-door. Lincoln Parish is one of a few remaining parishes that have dumpsters. Our neighbor next to us, the Emble Parish, has door-to-door pickup through a third party. Their issue was landfill issue, and so that may be something that may have to be addressed in the near term about our landfill and the trash part of it. One of the things that was mentioned earlier by Big Coach, I think it was, there was a survey done in 2020, and there's been no information about what that survey said, what the constituents' suggestions were, and the things that might be used to make this problem a lot easier. So that would be something of my interest. The other thing, the Adopt a Highway program that the state has, is to get the people involved, like they were talking about. We could kind of do a campaign where you get an adopt a dumpster site, and so that would get the community involved, and I think that would make a big difference as well.
Question 2. What needs to be done to span the divide that appears to exist within the police jury?
It's a good question. We need to work together. We need to communicate. We need to bring the public and let the public come to us and listen to our constituents. They're the ones we work for. They're the ones we're supposed to be answering for. So that's going to be the best thing to do, is have committees together, listen to constituents, and work together.
All right, and Mr. Dury.
Yeah, if we, yes, we need to work together. We need to spend time with each other, thinking about the things that we're working on. We need to take the suggestion from the public and evaluate those in the future and make plans for things like we have done for the health unit and some of the road projects, some of the subdivision ordinance things that we have worked together. We've got to continue to do those.
All right, and now we go to District 6. Mr. Scriber, you're first.
In order to work together, you've got to have some strong leaders that people believe in, that people have confidence in, that people can put their trust in. And when you get that, it'll spill over into the jury itself. And we got to have people that can step up to the plate. They know how to lead people. They're not afraid to make the tough decisions that need to be made. And those decisions can be made as long as it's done right. But you'll hear this probably around the table. Working together is of essence that we absolutely have to do to accomplish everything that we need to accomplish for the best parish in the state. That's Lincoln. Thank you.
Mr. Cole.
Okay, thank you. I think that one of the solutions would be that we have better open communication among each other. I think that candor needs to be practiced. Some of the observations that I see is, there's separate conversations going on over here and decisions being made, and then another conversation is being had over here, and there's no communication between the people in the conversations. And so I think communication as to where you are on certain issues among the whole group of 12. Some observation that I see is some people are on a certain type of agenda to get something done, and there's no communication to say, well, you know, I may need help from District 6 so I can get something done in District 12. I don't see a lot of that in what I've seen. Working together, that is just a normal thing. When I've sat on boards and you have to use your opinions and use candor and talk about solutions, and you may not agree with the solutions, and y'all all heard this, you know, you agree to disagree, but at the end you have to band together to make a decision that's best for the parish, not for you individually. And so I think the communication piece would be very, very helpful.
We'll move now to District 2, Mr. Woods.
Should be green, right? Communication is the key to solving problems. And just the short time that I've had out on the campaign trail and talking with different residents, we need to be listening to our constituents first. Whatever their needs, whatever their wants, or the needs are more important than the wants, but there'll be a lot of things that we may not be able to do, but still, we have to listen to our constituents because they do have issues. And a lot of times, our jurors have not been there for him. Our jurors have not gotten out and been in their district with their constituents, because when I'm asking questions, you know, these are some things that say, well, I don't even know who my jury is. And that's some of the things that we're going to have to change as jurors. We're going to have to get out and meet with our constituents. Whether we talk about town hall meetings, we talk about we meet all these other places instead of meeting with the people that need us. We want you to see your tax dollars at work. You shouldn't have to pay your tax dollars if you're not getting the things that you need. You're not getting your roads fixed. You're not having any animal control. This is something that the jury is going to have to work together to try to get this solved. We need to meet with our constituents, find out what they need, and let us get together and do what's right for the people. We have to be like a chain. We have to be linked together, and we have to work together. We have to ask the tough questions. We have to answer the tough questions. We have to be accountable for the things that we do back to our constituents, because you guys are paying your tax dollars, and we want to see your tax dollars at work. Thank you.
And Ms. Lovely.
A house divided will not stand. A jury divided will not stand. We have to come together. And I believe that's probably the reason why we have so many new candidates running, because they see a division. And we shouldn't be like that. We're working for one common goal, and it's our parish. Our parish is number one. And we understand that our constituents are also important. So when we need to listen to them, we need to understand what they want. I've come across some of the people and don't even know what a police jury is. They think it's connected to the police department. And so we have to first school them on what is the police jury, our Lincoln Parish Police Jury. So we need to come together. We need to work together. I'm one of the type of persons that love to work with people. I love to be around people. So when I listen, I listen. And when I have an answer, I have an answer. And if I don't have an answer, I'm going to make sure I find that answer for them. Thank you.
And Ms. Wyatt.
I think the issue is the generational divide. We have young men who come from backgrounds of investment. That's good. The police jury need those people. There are some of us who are seasoned, and God has given us wisdom. Sometimes there is a juror that sometimes I think because I have no sons, I treat him like he's my child. That's a generational divide, and I'm passing on to this person what it is. As a jury, we're going to have to find a way to bridge that generational divide. We're going to have to respect age, and we're going to have to respect youth. We have to do it with clarity and dignity, and both will have to give and take. But our biggest problem, not a problem, it's an asset, because we all have something to contribute, but it's a generational divide.
Mr. Williams.
The Bible says the old need you, the young need to learn from the old. And you cannot get new wine and put it in old wine skin. And when I say that, I'm saying this parish was named after Abraham Lincoln. This parish. And we still playing with the race thing. Everything is done down the racial lines. I coached at Ruston. I coached at Grambling. I was administrator at Ruston. I was administrator at Grambling. I coached at, I worked at Louisiana Tech, and I worked at Grambling. Until I started this race, I was a pretty good guy. Until, why do whites in Ruston have to say they run my campaign? Poor big coach, I can't go out and work hard and do what I need to do and finance my campaign. I mean, why I can't do that? Why I can't handle it myself? We gotta be honest. We talk about that, but you have to be honest. I set my reputation up against anything. And that's what's going on right now. Constituents in this thing going to Samsboro and going to the black folks and tell them all in that. And that shouldn't happen. We got to call it like it is. And that's why Big Coach coached 4 state championships, won no games at Grambling anybody. The first time I started, I got the job at Grambling High School. First day at work.
Finish your sentence, because time's
The
up.
first day at work, Eddie Robinson called me over there. When he called me over there, I said, Lord, I just got the job. He finna fire me. But what happened next was, I sit down and he talked to me. And when I got through, I ain't heard a word he said because I was so amazed at him. And I spent all my life trying to make him proud of what I've done.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks. Mr. Edwards.
He took some of my time for me, so it's all good. He always does. But I do believe in working together, communication, and getting back as one as a community. All of us can do this. We all can work together. Some of us old, younger, it don't matter. We all can get back to being one as a community.
Okay, question 3, we'll start with District 2. And Ms. Ludley, you will be the first to answer this question. Do you agree with the police jury's decision last year to sign a new contract with the Ruston Fire Department for ambulance service with Lincoln Parish? And why or why not? Do you agree with the police jury's decision last year, 2022, to sign a new contract with the Ruston Fire Department for ambulance service for Lincoln Parish? Why or why not?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not familiar with that, so I won't be able to answer that in the right format on that one. So I'm gonna pass that on.
Mr. Woods.
Okay. I do agree that they signed the contract due to, I've worked in the fire service for 35 years here in Lincoln Parish. I've been in a lot of homes. A lot of people know me from the fire department. And our parish and our city, we're trying to work together. We have ties with Lincoln Parish Fire District. We have ties with Lincoln Parish Sheriff Department. We have ties with Ruston Police Department. And when you talk about ambulance service, you know, ambulance service is really hard to get, especially having the skilled people that need to be on these ambulances to be able to give the care that people need. Now, Patrick was here running calls in Grambling, as well as Ruston was running calls in Ruston and Grambling, and all throughout Lincoln Parish. And I put Ruston Fire Department up against anybody, whether it be Arcadian, Shreveport, Bossier City, because I worked there. I'm one of the 36 paramedics that they had when we were there. And like I said, we give great service. Our guys are always educated. We're doing continuing education. And who do you want in your home to see about you? Do you want a paramedic or do you want a EMR? A lot of people don't know what an EMR is. That's an emergency medical responder. All they can do is render CPR. They can help stabilize a wound. But a paramedic can give IVs. They can start IVs. They can defibrillate. They can give life-correcting drug therapy. They can give oxygen. These are things that we need for our people in the parish because they need somebody. When you say 911, they need them there right then. Thank you.
We'll move now to District, down here on this end, to District 1, and Mr. Williams, you're up.
One of the reasons why I'm running is because of emergency that I went through last year with AFib, and probably a month ago, my wife had to use it. And all I know is this right here, is that it's very important, and we cannot not have it. Because right now, I feel like if I didn't have an emergency unit, I think I don't know if I'd be here, as well as my wife. Now, the problem I have with it is that, okay, my contender voted twice about not having it because you can't find the funds. If I don't have any money in my house, I'm going to pay the light bill. Some things you gotta have. Now, I done heard all this about the ambulance service. I feel like with Ruston being here, you should support your Ruston people first. That's what I feel. Now, all the particulars of the ambulance and all, quite naturally, I don't know. But I know, but in Ruston, we should be honored, should have a chance in Ruston. Why is it that we have one figure that was low, and then we waited, then we came back with the other figure that was higher than that figure? So that's the problem I have with it, right? We got to have it.
Ms. Wyatt.
To me, the question was never about the quality of the service. Of course, Ruston has an excellent ambulance service. I'm a rural juror because I live outside of the city limits. However, I live close enough to take advantage of Ruston Fire Department because I'm right at the edge. I panicked when Hawaii had that fire. I thought about people in the rural area who did not have the accessibility to Ruston as I did. But it also is important for us to know, as adults, we ought to or should have ambulance service as a part of our medical portfolio. You know, we have Medicare, Medicaid, we have private insurance, but because I'm a rural juror, I'm looking out for those people in Dubai and wherever, and I think that the price that we were paying or are paying could be better served if we would strengthen the rural fire department. I'm not sorry to say that I'm not sorry I made that decision. I'm a rural juror, and I look out for my rural people.
And Mr. Edwards.
Being part of Lincoln Parish Fire, I do know that our guys are more capable. We do have paramedics on staff. We have, we can do rescue just like Ruston. We have all the equipment. So this is a very tough decision and stuff. But yes, I do believe Lincoln Parish can handle any of the EMS calls, medical calls, or fire calls, rescue calls, because we back up Ruston all the time anyway. Half the time we're there before Ruston. had an incident, yes, the other night, had a rollover in Grambling, and Lincoln Parish Fire was actually the first ones on the scene. And so, yes, I do believe we can help better the community.
We'll go now to District 6, Mr. Scriber.
The ambulance service that we currently have with the city of Ruston, with the rescue, ambulance service / rescue, yes, absolutely, I voted for it. And when this thing first come to the table and we had to vote on it, I voted no. We didn't have enough information really to even vote that night, in my opinion. I can only offer up my opinion. But when the numbers started coming in, with this is certainly not anything against the rural fire district, but when City of Ruston has been doing it for decades, proven track record, and then the rural fire district comes in, it's basically $300,000 more, and not as well equipped. They're not as well equipped. That's not a knock against them. We need to boost their equipment. I'm willing to do that, absolutely. But to me, very fortunate that we got the city of Ruston back in the game. Very, very fortunate. I think I was instrumental in doing that. It was a no-brainer when we actually voted on it that the city of Ruston absolutely, positively was the way to go. Thank you.
Mr. Cole.
Okay, I think probably the decision to stay with the city was the right choice. I do applaud the existing jury about doing their homework about the cost and the preparedness of the rural fire departments and the equipment that they had and the training. One thing that as a jury you have to do is you have to look at all of the options, and we looked at the city of Ruston. We had a long-term contract with them. The services they were providing were way above par, and they were needing an increase in cost because of inflation and the cost and salaries and all of the things that go into that. And so I think it was very prudent to look at all the choices. And in the end, when you look at the quality of the service, the cost, I think the overall being of the qualifications of an EMT as opposed to someone that couldn't provide exact services in the emergency, I think all of that was taken into account, and I do believe that staying with the Ruston Fire Department was the best choice.
And District 3, Mr. Durrett.
Okay, first of all, I want to set the record straight about going from 120,000 up. Supposedly, I was in a meeting one day and rejected that. That's totally not true. I wasn't even in the parish that day. So for the record, I want to set that record straight. Next of all, I want to say that I voted against this because I represent the people in the rural area. We had a proposal on the table that would stage ambulances outside of Ruston, which would help the rural area all over the parish. We had situations. We've had situations with Ruston, and I know of 2 of them, where it took an hour and a half to get to one call. The guy was having a heart attack. And another one where a guy, they couldn't find his house. And we've asked questions about those and we never got an answer. So I felt like that Pafford, working out with us and with Ruston, or Pafford out in the parish and Ruston in the parish, would benefit the whole parish. We'd have 2 good ambulance services, we'd have 2 good rescue. The gentleman's right. The rural fire district needs some support. They need some finances. They need to boost their rescue. Speaking of rescue, we had a train wreck the other day in Shooters. You might want to check to see who responded. I think the fire district responded, the rural fire district responded, Pafford, and Acadiana.
Thank you. And Mr. Lord.
Yes, there was a conversation about the $120,000. It's gonna be $10,000 a month is what it's gonna do. I don't know what the transparency problem was, but it came back to $645,000, which comes up to $53,800 a month. Now, the deal with the Lincoln Parish Ruston Fire Department, I happen to work for Ruston Fire Department for 5 years. I'm a licensed EMT. I have worked on ambulance. I have worked at the fire department with Lincoln Parish. There's nothing against Lincoln Parish. Ruston Fire Department is by far the best choice. Now, I do agree on signing it. I wish it would have been at $120,000, not the $645,000. So this he said, she said. The problem is this cost every one of us money. We should have all came together in the very beginning and had all this resolved. But that's the backdoor policy that I talked about the other night that needs to stop. We need to come together and work together and figure this out together. Thank you.
All right, next question will go first to our candidates from District 6. And Mr. Cole, you'll be up first. Here's the question. What is your plan to maintain the parish roads and bridges?
That's a very good question. In my door knocking, that has been one of the central themes about the condition of the ditches out in the rural areas. One thing I believe happens, and I'm the challenger, I have not sat on the jury, but I believe there's budgetary items that for road and maintenance. And each juror, I believe, gets a specific amount of budget to cover a certain amount of miles. I believe that's the way that works. And so what we would need to do is take a look at what the allocation is for my district, District 6, go out, look, see what's needed, and rank the thing that needs to be done immediately and then intermediately, and then things that are just typically maintenance. And so I think we have to look at the budget that is assigned to that district and then get the problems from the constituents. I think one of the things I've been told is one of the major things, that phone calls that I'll get is that, hey, I need my ditch mowed or I need this pothole filled. And so I plan to go out and work with the road superintendent to try to get those issues resolved.
And Mr. Scribe.
Like Mr. Cole said, in District 6, we might not literally be as impacted by that as some of the other districts, but that doesn't matter. We are part of this jury. We want all of our roadways, ditches, bridges to be maintained properly. I think with what we have got, what we do, I get very few calls on a complaint regarding that. Now, potholes are going to be an issue from now to doomsday. We're going to have those because of so many vehicles out on the highway. There's more vehicles now than ever, and I guess it's going to continue to increase. So high traffic deteriorates our roadways. That's just what happens, and we just got to continue to do at least what we're doing. I'm not ever satisfied with the status quo. I want us to always be able to improve where we're at. But overall, I think we do a pretty good job of maintaining ditches, roadways, but there's always going to be some circumstances that come up where we have to deal with it and address it, and that's what we'll do.
We'll move now to District 3 and Mr. Lord.
One of the plans to fix the roadways and ditches is to have a strong committee to work together, just like pretty much all of this. I've gone down the roads, and a lot of people have gone door to door, and if you drive down the roads, you'll hear them say, well, that's a state highway, it's not a parish highway. But when you drive through state highways and other parishes, they're pretty good roads. So we need to sit down and figure out why the other parishes are getting decent roads and we're not. I'm not saying it's an individual person at any one of the police jury, but there's got to be an issue. If you can drive through Lincoln Parish on 507, as soon as you cross the parish line, the road is beautiful. The road ditches need to be addressed, and we just need to come together as a community and figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, as a civil engineer, this is right down my alley. First of all, we've just revised the subdivision code whereby the developers of the subdivision will have to comply with certain restrictions in building the road where we won't be having deterioration as soon as they're built. Second, next thing is, we, this last night, finalized a deal with DOTD to take over the maintenance of the overpass approaches in Lincoln Parish. That's the roads that don't have an interchange. The federal, state people would not let us do it, and they've ignored maintenance. But we mentioned that, I mentioned that to a meeting with the new district engineer, and they went back and they made some concessions, and they're gonna let the parish take over those, so those will be improved and work with in the future. The next thing we need to do, we need to look forward, and we need to widen the roads. We've got people driving now, we got more people driving, we got younger people driving, we got distracted people driving, and I've brought up, and I think we're fixing to start trying to increase the width of the road from 20 foot to 22 foot, and the bridges from 24 foot to 28.
We'll move now to District 1 and Mr. Edwards.
Well, I plan on figuring out which roads in our district are getting bad and getting with the committee and stuff. Basically communication, trying to build it better.
And Mr. Williams.
The parish make up about 400 miles of parish roads. District 1 and 2 make up 40 miles. If you look down Houston Street in Mount Olive, and the complaint as our campaign, they said because there's no stripes, no signs as far as lane changes, no any of that. On Houston Street and Nathan Street in Mount Olive. The incumbent lives in Mount Olive. And as I walk down the street, and they tell me, they said, big coach, then you going on down Houston Street, you see why the trees is overlapping the road. Now what some of the other guys are saying over there is we want to get it like some of the other places. We're about to have, they say we're about to have wrecks in Mount Olive because the roads are too small and the potholes are too small, they're not being fixed. When I started this race here, I went by the police jury and I asked for 8 years of budgets. I asked for 8 years. And when I asked for 8 years of budget, I said, I want to know how much money is spent in District 1 on roads. And I want to know how much is spent in District 2 on roads. Couldn't nobody tell me. They couldn't tell me anything. Now you mean to tell me with a budget as sophisticated things are now, I couldn't go represent District 1 and you tell me how much money spent on District 1?
All right.
How much spent on District 2?
Thank you.
Couldn't nobody tell me.
Ms. Wyatt.
Yes, I live in Mount Olive. For months, maybe a year, I worked on getting Gall Road striped. Then buckets came into play. And I walked that road daily. And I told the administrator, we're not going to stripe until we overlay. We can't just stripe and then come back a year later and overlay. The way Gall Road runs is, it is possible that it will become almost a throughway to Tarbuckle. So that road needs to be widened. It needs to be, the foundation needs to be redone, because when our roads were built, they were not built for the heavy traffic, the big oil trucks that we have now. So we have to go back, redo the foundation, overlay it, and then stripe it. Because I'm almost sure that Gall Road, especially, is going to be one of the shortcuts to buckets. We just can't overnight decide. That has been on the table. We've had to take it off the table. We have to put it back on. We have to strategically plan based upon other things that are a part of our plan.
Thank you. Move now to District 2 and Ms. Ludley.
My thing is about our roads and our bridges. We all know that the police jury handles all of that. And I agree with just about everybody at the tables now that we need our roads widened in District 2. We do need stripes, but we also need, as a matter of fact, during the time my father was mayor of Grambling, I believe that was the last time that the roads was upgraded. So we all can imagine how long that's been. So I think that we all need to come together, assess the situations, prioritize those things that we need to prioritize. Because if we don't, the potholes, and I know in Grambling they are pretty big, but we put Band-Aids on it, and that's not going to do. We have to do more than just put a Band-Aid on these potholes. And when I see people driving, their cars are going this way, that way. And I know it's not just in my district, but it's in probably just about everybody's district. So we need to assess the situation a little bit more. We need to come together as a unit and decide what is beneficial for all the entire 12 districts in the parish of Lincoln. Thank you.
Mr. Woods.
Being the assistant chief at Ruston Fire Department, I was over the budget for purchasing for uniforms, emergency equipment, anything that we need. And we all know that at the end of a budget, there's usually some money left over in these budgets. And a lot of times we're going to have to earmark some money. We know that repairing the roads is going to be expensive, but when money's left over at the end of the budget, we should earmark these monies to where we can come back and fix our roads, because the roads are not in good condition, y'all. I spent out about $2,400 fixing the front end on the 2018 Tahoe that's been running through Ruston, through Grambling, through Simsboro. Our roads are not in great shape, y'all. They need to be fixed. But I feel like at the end of the budget year, we have monies left over that we can earmark some monies for streets, or for roads. For roads, where we can get these roads repaired. Because our citizens, they deserve to be riding on good roads. They pay their tax dollars. They're not complaining about paying the tax dollars unless they're not getting what they need. We are supposed to be servicing our constituents. That's our job as jurors. And if we put our minds, put our heads together, and get the budget where it needs to be, the things that are important, the roads are important, the trash is important, animal control is important, but we know that we run them down the roads every day with our vehicles, and our roads need to be fixed. Thank you.
All right, this next question is a leadership style question. We'll start with District 1 and Mr. Edwards. And here's the question. How should the police jury handle any performance issues with its administrator? Mr. Edwards, you're up.
Yeah. Would you repeat the question?
How should the police jury handle any performance issues with its administrator?
That's a very tough question. I don't know yet. Maybe meet with all the other jurors and try to find out what's going on. If you got to go higher on to the police department, the sheriffs, whoever, bring them in, bring the citizens in to find out, hey, this is what's going on or whatnot. I don't know.
Mr. Williams.
When you say performing issue, you're talking about of the person that's over this jury, the person that's in charge?
Question says with its administrator.
Well, I think right now we have to look at what evaluation procedures in place. And when you look at the evaluation, now keep in mind, I come from a school system where all that is tied up through evaluations. And you look at I don't know what the police jury have and how it evaluates, but I'm pretty sure they have something in place. And then I would look at it to see does it need any revising, and then get together as a subgroup and be able to go over that to make sure that, and look at the policies within the jury to see what policies they have in place and make sure the policy they have is up-to-date policies. We don't have no policies back that 20 years ago, and we see it needs to be revised. And so sometimes during a relaxed time, you get together with your jury members and you have a retreat and you sit back and go over the policies and go over the evaluation procedures.
Ms. Walker.
How the police jury handle performance issues with administrators. I thought what we were doing was a very good thing, what we have done. And I think it could be used as a possible model. We were asked to come into a discussion with the administrator. I think that was a good thing. I think we should continue that. During that discussion, we were told or discussed with the administrator what our issues were. I think that's a good thing. I think that what would work best would be to go into an executive session and discuss with the administrator what the issues are, and let the administrator decide for himself whether or not he wants to go public or whether or not he wants to go into an executive session. And I think that would work well with an administrator.
Move now to District 2, Ms. Ludley.
With your administrator, I believe as a teacher, well, I used to be a teacher, we always had a principal come in to observe you, evaluate you. Then at the end, you got your scores, or you got your the answer to whatever that problem was. That's the way I feel like we should be doing with the administrator here for the Lincoln Parish Police Jury. Whatever job that they are doing, it should be evaluated by the 12 to let he or she know what is wrong, what is not wrong, what is right, what is not right. That's the only way we're going to be able to come together. And I mean, we can't just let people go because they do one little thing wrong, but we have to give them an opportunity to make corrections. And so that is my thought on that. Thank you.
Mr. Woods.
Well, in any job that you've taken, there's a job description. And in the job description, if the administrator is working within his job description, I think in the evaluation part of it is that we're evaluating him on how he performed his job under those job descriptions. Now, if he deviates from that, the committee can get together. And you know, anybody knows that anytime you're doing a job, most jobs, you have a 1-year probationary period or you have a 6-month probationary period. There should be a time that we can evaluate in 3 months, 4 months, or once every 6 months to evaluate and see if this is who we need to, or he's doing the job that we want him to do under his job description. And if he's deviated from it, now we need to have an investigation. And we need to make sure that if he's done something wrong, we go about making sure that we do an investigation, get all the information that we need to make sure that we're making the right decision, and we're not going by hearsay, we're going by evidence. We're going to evidence that we have, that we collected, that maybe we have someone to come in with a statement that they made saying that this is what I saw him do. And once we do that, now we have to get a committee together to have a hearing to make it fair for the administrator.
We'll move now to District 3 and Mr. Dury.
Okay, I served as administrator and engineer for the parish for 17 years. The administrator is an at-will employee of the jury, had a 1-year contract. The jury could terminate you for no reason after that year, or the next year or the next year. Going in public and airing out all the dirty things is really not the benefit of the jury or the person, because you don't want to penalize him for anything in the future. So I know in the 17 years, you know each juror, you work with each juror, you know whether they think you're doing a good job or not. They don't have to come tell you what you're doing wrong.
Mr. Lord. Yeah, Mr. Lord.
First, they should have an evaluation committee, which is most likely going to be the rest of the police juries. You're going to evaluate them, and you're going to give them a reason of what their production is and what they're doing and what they're not doing. You're going to give them a head of accountability, and that's exactly what you got to do. You can't, just like Mr. Teresa was saying, you need to say if they want to go in the executive, or they want to not go in it, but when they do say they want to go in it, they say they don't want to go in it, that needs to happen. And second of all, they need to be held accountable for what they do. Every one of them do. But I worked at the Ruston Fire Department. Every quarter, we had an evaluation. We came through, but they told us what we were doing wrong and what we weren't doing right. That's what needs to happen with to handle the performance issues with the administrator.
And to District 6 and Mr. Cole.
When you're dealing with HR issues and dealing with employees, you have to keep in mind the employment laws, the regulations. One thing I think I see at the bank, we have a really stringent evaluation process. I think that you should have that as a go-by when you're dealing with employees and the administrator. That way you don't step over your bounds when it comes to any HR issues. I think that an annual review, open discussion, are you working within your job description? Your contract, I understand that the administrator is under a contract, and I think the contract needs to be very specific about what the job description is, what your authority level is, what your decision approval accountability is, and if you step out of those bounds, then I think that there should be an HR committee, as Mr. Lord said, or an employee committee, and then if it has to be within an executive session, you have to be very, very careful when it comes to addressing employment issues. There's always a liability piece to it. And so if you're working within a predisposed evaluation process and everybody understands what your expectations are, then you have a better opportunity to deal with problems.
Right.
We have an HR department, we have a personnel committee with the jury. I follow suit a lot with what Mr. Cole just said here. Now, to sit here and say that we can terminate someone without just cause, I'm absolutely positively against that. I don't think that's fair to anyone involved. So when there are issues, when evaluation comes up, if there are issues, there are steps in place to handle situations where someone has failed to perform their duties that they were assigned to do. If they have failed their duties in their assignment and what they are called to do, what they are hired to do, what they are paid to do, then I will be the first to step up and address that issue. But we've got to do it in the proper way. Why do we have an HR department to handle personnel matters? We have a personnel committee to handle personnel issues. Now, the personnel committee can't make that decision on whether to keep that administrator or to, terminate that administrator. So if there are ways to go about doing this that's professional and the right way to do it.
All right. Next question, we will begin with District 3, and Mr. Lord, you will get the opportunity to answer first. And the question is this: what, if any, role does the police jury play in economic development in Lincoln Parish?
Police jury has a big role in economical development in the parish. They handle all types of situations. We handle this, we basically have many buildings and structures. We have the library. We don't handle the entities. You have the health departments. You have different entities within the police jury. There's grant stuff that happens throughout the parish for rural water. That's part of that economical development. It could be more. We just need to come together and work together.
Mr. Dewey.
Can you repeat the
Mr.
question?
Dewey, yeah.
What we should
What is,
do,
I'm sorry.
is it what we should do, or
What, if any, is the role of the police jury in economic development in Lincoln Parish?
well, I think the jury is very involved in economic development. And all the things that we do, one of the important things that we do is work with the cities and the towns for economic development. We will find out the different avenues. The jury has to decide whether to have tax abatement or property tax or sales tax or whatever. And that's all usually based on case-by-case basis.
We'll move now to District 6 and Mr. Scriber.
Economic development is a situation where we have to work together with, like, the city of Ruston in particular, not just strictly the city of Ruston, because we represent all of the parish. But the bottom line is the economic development that takes place, around us here. More times than not, the city has taken the lead on that, but they cannot go through with everything and without the police jury's support, because we have to vote on the taxes that are involved in the different businesses that might come into Lincoln Parish. So absolutely, the police jury is incredibly involved in economic development as far as taking the lead on the economic development. We can play a part in it, but we have to work with the other municipalities to develop economic development.
Mr. Cole.
Yeah, I think the police jury would have a major role in it by working with the other municipalities in the parish, because it is parish-wide. Economic development stimulates the economy and improves quality of life around by providing jobs, providing services, providing goods for the residents to have. It also creates a revenue stream for the parish. As the economy builds and businesses come in and we develop economically, then the taxes that come in increase the revenue that comes into the parish. And so therefore, more revenue, we can provide more services, we can fix the roads, we can, upgrade the park. It just gives you more choices to make the parish better. So I think economic development is the root of making the parish better. So the revenue stream that is generated from that would be utilized properly to improve the quality of life.
We'll move now to District 2 and Mr. Woods.
Yes, I do think that the parish should be the leader We know that we have ties with the city of Ruston, and we don't want to leave any of the other parishes out. We have, the other city, we have Dubai, we have Sturgeon, we have Simsboro. We're all as good as we are together, and we have to stay together. And one of the major things for us economic development we have to continue to look at too is our insurance ratings. A lot of times people don't look at that. And I noticed that, I know Ruston is a 2, and the lower your grade is, the better your insurance rating is. I think the parish was a 4, and I think they went to a 5. And you may have saw an increase in your insurance. Grambling, we were a 7, we went to an 8. And so people saw some change in the insurance. So that's one of the major components that we're going to have to work on too, because if you have a good fire rating, we're going to have hotels, we're going to have businesses that want to come here and want to be here because they know that they have the fire protection that's going to protect their business. Now, most businesses are going to have, they're going to have sprinkler systems, they're going to have ways to alleviate, the building burning down, but still, your fire service is only as, and your fire service in your city is only as strong as what you can be. And like I said, Parish has a really good fire department, but we have a mutual aid agreement between the city of Ruston, Dubai, Simsboro, Lincoln Parish. We work together, and together we stand, divided we fall. Thank you.
Ms. Ludwig.
I think that our economic development is very, very, very important for all our towns and cities in Lincoln Parish. I don't want to just say about Grambling, but I know my counterpart had been mentioned, but at the same time, we know that all of our rural towns need more economic development. Now, Grambling doesn't have a lot of businesses or what have you because of certain things, but at the same time, as police jurors, city can request things that they may need to upgrade or whatever their situation is. But I do believe wholeheartedly that economic development is very, very important for all the entire parish and our other towns around. Thank you.
We'll move now to District 1, Ms. Wyatt.
I think Glenn said it best. I don't want to give you that credit, Glenn, but I will. You did a very good job. I'm happy to say that Ruston has taken the lead in spearheading economic development because they have the staff to do that. We contribute to the GIS system, the parish does, and that tells developers at a glance, what land is available. But all of us all of the taxing agencies play a part in it because we have to sign off on whether or not we want to support or not support what these businesses ask of us. Our GIS department, and we pay a fee, so that's good, but all of us play a part in most of the things that we do, but Ruston has taken the lead in this particular thing because they have the staff, and we're thankful for that.
Coach Williams.
I've been waiting on that question right there. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for police jury, because other than emergency ambulance service, and I'm being here, my wife, economic development is one thing that concerns me in Grambling. It concerns me because the glass plant lost 300 jobs. When I was in the 3rd grade, I came to Grambling on a field trip from New York to Louisiana, and they got less stores in Grambling than we have now. And so you can complain, what have I done? Since I started running, I met with the mayor, I met with the former mayor, I met with the mayor pro tem, I met with the economic development person in Grambling. And I said, what are we going to do? I said, we gotta get together. You know why? Because Eddie Robinson Museum is one of the most visited museums in the state of Louisiana. And when they come off the interstate, they need to come into Oasis, downtown Grambling, going to the museum. The second thing is, I'm on the planning and zoning in Grambling. I went out there to the truck stop. I said, right now, it's embarrassing to have an incomplete truck stop. So I said, I need to know something. I said, I'm representing Grambling, I'm on the zoning. I need to know what are you gonna do, and it's gonna take you 10 years to finish this job. So they gave me the engineer or the person that's in charge texted me today and told me, he said that this is why we're on each site. I think we failed in District 1 and 2 with economic development.
Thank you. And Mr. Edwards.
Again, he took most of my time, so it's good. But working together, figuring out what everybody needs, getting back to the community is pretty much what I...
Okay, last question, folks, and this is a real easy one. Come on now. We'll start with District 2. Start with District 2, Ms. Ludley. Why should voters elect you?
When I started this journey running, first I didn't see myself in this position, but a lot of people in Grambling District 2 was asking me. And then around Juneteenth or whatever, I started thinking about it. And then I had to think about my parents who are now deceased, and my father, who was the mayor of Grambling. I'm kind of like him, and he's very passionate. He was very concerned about the people in Lincoln Parish, not only just in Grambling, but in Lincoln Parish. And I have been in the community all of my life, maybe just a few years off. But I have the compassion to work with people. And when people ask me to help in any kind of way, I'm right there. I love District 2. I love the people that I've met so far on this journey. A lot of people in Grambling, they know who I am, but the people outside in the other rural parts of the parish don't know me, but they have gotten a chance to know me. And so that's the reason why I'm running for District 2 for Lincoln Parish. And my number is number 56 on the ballot, and I appreciate your vote. And please vote early, because Grambling does have a homecoming game on that day. Thank you.
Mr. Woods, why should voters elect you?
Well, my platform is fire, EMS, and rescue, because I know from working at Ruston Fire Department for over 35 years, I know what we bring to the table. And I'm looking out for the constituents who are outside the city of Ruston. I know that several of our police jury men and women, they stay here in the city, and they have access to the ambulance service. But our people out in the rural areas, they have access to the Ruston Fire Department. We have over 35 paramedics. We have 5 ambulance units. We have 2 rescue units. We can do the job. Our constituents need to be taken care of. And that's why I'm running. And I think that I'm going to be the person that you need in a position in District 2, because I have experience in budgetary items. I have experience in personnel, and we have all these things that are going on within our parish. And we're going to have to come together. We have a rich history in Lincoln Parish, City of Ruston. If we work together, there's just no limit to where we can be. I'm asking you to vote for me, not just because of my name. I'm asking you to vote because I'm concerned about our constituents who are outside the city as well as in the city. Thank you.
We'll move now to District 1, Mr. Williams. Why should voters elect you?
I feel like I can probably say that times like this, now it's the time, I think this is the time that I need to be a part of this because I want to and because I think I can help the people. I spent all my time serving Lincoln Parish young people. In Grambling, Ruston, all I did was serve. And now that I've been out of serving them, I want to get back in and serve the people. And whenever my vote, you always will know why I voted that way, and you will never question my vote because you might question, but you're gonna know where I stand. And I think people know, Big Coach, you know that I'm gonna do what I say, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna be honest in all times. I love this place where I'm at. And I had the opportunity to work in both places over the years. This has been my life. This has been my life here. Okay, so I think I can make, well, I know I can make a difference in this parish, in this position.
Ms. Wyatt, why should voters elect you?
Because I'm the best person for the job. I have 16 years of wonderful experience. My record speaks for itself. There are many projects that we have started, and those projects have not been completed. Those projects and other jurors need people who are experienced, who have a background of knowledge to help these projects continue to completion. And then District 1 is my family. I have attended social events, church events, weddings. I love and I know those people. And I've loved them for 40 years. We celebrate together and we grieve together. I am a habitual litter-free police patrol. I try to lead by example. I believe in the Lincoln Parish Police Jury solid waste mission. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I have the best flea market in town because I stress reuse, recycle, and so forth. I'm the best person for the job. Please elect me, number 55.
Mr. Edwards, why should people elect you?
Because it's time for a change. I mean, we've all sat up here, talked and everything. It's going to be up to y'all. It's time for a change. Vote number 53.
Moving now to District 6 and Mr. Scriber, why should voters elect you?
I thought this would probably come up somewhere, and this is the one part that I'm the least comfortable doing, to tell you the truth. The Bible teaches us to be humble. And then we're asked these questions, and what we have to do is talk about ourselves. And that's where I'm the most uncomfortable. Everything that I've ever been a part of and everything that I've ever led out on, when people ask me about it, I'm going to give the credit to the people that were working with me on different projects. And I'll continue to do that. But I am experienced with being in there for 4 years. I'm experienced. I am committed. I will always do what I think is right and best for Lincoln Parish. I don't think that I will ever make decisions or vote on anything that District 6 will be embarrassed about. I said in my handout here that I will treat you like a family member. Those of you, y'all know the Scriber family. We're close-knit, we're tight, we stick together, and don't mess with one of them because you're going to mess with all of them. That's the way I feel about District 6. I will stand up for you, and that's why I ask for your vote. Very humbly, I might add.
And Mr. Cole, why should voters elect you?
I'm a fourth generation Lincoln Parish resident. I've lived here for 40 years. I went to Ruston High School, I went to Louisiana Tech. Lincoln Parish is my home. In Ruston High School, there was a plaque that hung on the gym that said nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And the one thing that I will promise is that you will get enthusiasm out of me. I will listen to what you have to say. I will discern what you have to say, and I will be your voice and relay what you say that will make things better for Lincoln Parish. I'm being elected by you as District 6 constituents, and I am your voice. And I will never lose my honor or integrity to better myself because something else was needed. You can be rest assured that I will be your voice. My banking career has given me a lot of experience. I'm experienced in corporate governance, regulatory compliance, budget management, and industry advocacy. I understand the pieces that it takes to operate on a board. And so that I would carry that over here to the jury. So I believe I'm number 60. Vote for me, John Cole, number 60.
And now to District 3. Mr. Durrick, why should voters elect you?
I'm a native of Lincoln Parish. I was born here, educated here, graduated from Sept High School and Louisiana Tech, with a BS degree in civil engineering. I've got 54 years of experience in civil engineering. I think I can continue to help us with our roads, bridges, solid waste, and buildings. One project that we are currently working on that's very important that nobody's mentioned tonight is a new health unit. We've got a health unit that's probably 60 or 70 years old building. We're going to build a new health unit with a health hut in it, which will be a health hub, along with a health agency, new health agency building, along with a new maintenance building for our sewer district. So I'm retired, I got plenty of time, and I'm dedicated to Lincoln Parish. Please vote for me, number 58. One other thing, the early voting starts September the 30th through October the 7th. It will be from 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night.
And Mr. Lord, why should voters elect you?
Because I'm the best person for the job. I will bring transparency. I'll bring transparency to the police jury. I'm running for District 3, but my slogan says I will do the right thing for Lincoln Parish. I will do what's right for every district in Lincoln Parish. If one district fails, we all fail. We all need to work together. That's what my goal is. I've done archery for a long time. I shot competitive. I've been president of the Northeast Louisiana Archery Association for over 10 years. We had 30 people showing up to shoot. When COVID hit, we had over 100 people weekend shooting. I'm good at working with people, bringing people together, and making things happen. Vote for me, Dan Lord, 59, District 3. Thank you.
Once again, let's give a round of applause to all these folks for being willing to do this. All of you have enjoyed tonight's forum and hopefully learned some things too. Feel free to continue to visit with these folks one-on-one. Thanks to the Lincoln Parish Library for providing the venue tonight and for Origin Bank for helping us out. Candidates from District 9, 10, and 11 will be here on Tuesday night. As some of these folks said, early voting for the October 14 primary does begin on September 30. Safe travels and good night.
Thank you.